All right, welcome back to Within the Rep. This is episode number 9. Quick run up to episode number 9. We've had lots of guests on so far, but today I have my good friend on, Shelby. We go a long way back because we grew up in the same town, sort of, kind of, and we both ended up moving out to Vancouver, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah, I guess that's kind of how life works. So I'll let Shelby take a moment to introduce herself. So yeah, go ahead, Shelby.
Yeah, so my name is Shelby Guillaume. I grew up like Farron in Saskatchewan. I lived in a small town outside of Moose Jaw, which is where we both eventually went to school. We had just different circles. I think I'm just like a little bit older than you too. Bodybuilded for the last 8 years, did it pretty seriously for a couple, was paid to do it, enjoyed it so much. Obviously it's going to be a part of my life, but focusing on school right now. Finishing my paramedic license, firefighting, and yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so we kind of sort of grew up in the same town, which is Moose Jaw. And I think like many years ago, I was probably on Instagram or something. And yeah, we weren't like friends or anything, but I knew obviously small town, everybody knows everybody kind of things. I was like, hey, I know this chick, and she's obviously in the bodybuilding industry now and competing and whatnot. And it's like, whoa, that's super cool because that's what I was into now too. And then, yeah, eventually she moved out to Vancouver and trains out at West Coast Iron and whatnot. So super, super random. I mean, not a lot of people from our small town. I mean, went into the fitness industry. I mean, a few people actually, I guess, but they have some cool gyms there now and whatnot.
In Saskatoon, maybe. I guess Regina kind of has a few as well. I went to Ottawa and Toronto before I came to Vancouver. So I was training at like Pure Muscle for a year around COVID. So I got exposed to some pretty high caliber, I guess, gyms out there. But
Mhm.
yeah, not very many people leave or they always go back. So
Yeah. I mean, I've been looking on Instagram lately, and some of the gyms are pretty kitted out now. They have some good spots, but so going back to good old Moose Jaw, like what was it growing up in a small town like Moose Jaw?
well, initially I grew up in Marquess, so it has about 100 people. It's got about 70 now. Wasn't exactly for me, I guess. I'm pretty neurodivergent, didn't fit in very well. So it was pretty difficult. Didn't love it. And then moved to, once our school closed down there, we were bussed into Moose Jaw. And then it was kind of like not easy as well, because obviously you don't know anybody. I think I was like 10 or 11 at that time. Um, Again, just found it was really difficult to fit in. So yeah, it's just like a lot of small town mentality is what I found in Moose Jaw. Um, if you didn't know how to be like everybody else, it just didn't really seem to work out so well for you, I guess. I don't know if you had
Hmm.
a similar experience.
Yeah, no, very much so. My childhood wasn't like most. I mean, I bounced around a lot. And then for 1 year, I was living in Moose Jaw at a younger age. And then I moved away and I was living in a small town of Etonia, which was like 500 people as well. And I absolutely hated living there. And when I was 16, my mom was super rad and she let me move to Moose Jaw and she actually helped me get like an apartment, helped me pay for it and whatnot. So I moved to Moose Jaw alone, and yeah, I mean, it was super clicky, super, super clicky. I mean, I kind of had a few friend groups, but I guess like it's super clicky. It's funny. It's super clicky. Like there's all these different groups of people. I guess that's kind of high school anywhere, but at the end of the day, everybody just parties at the same places, and it's just like absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Like absolute chaos. I've never seen such like crazy parties, like actually like movie parties, like complete house wreckers, beautiful houses completely destroyed, like absolute chaos. When I was growing up there, didn't so much enjoy it. I mean, it was more enjoyable than living in the small town I was from because I mean, it was a little bit more exciting. And but I always wanted to leave. Like that was always my dream when I was young. Like I was born in BC, so I always wanted to get back to the mountains, right? But Like, when did that come for you? Because that was always there for me, and I left literally the moment I graduated.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like a reality, like it was possible. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way when they grow up there, that like you're so enclosed in this bubble that like life doesn't exist outside of it.
Mhm,
Like I had a bunch of different friend groups too. I probably had like a different friend group every 6 months to a year. And I just like kind of knew like I got really good at pretending to be like people
mhm,
for the sake of like survival essentially. But then like it would just start feeling wrong. And like I just felt so like I just didn't belong there. And this like every time I like would start like find new friends and like start over, like sub like a couple people that I've like kept around for longer. Um, but the like a lot of the time when I was just jumping around, like nothing felt right. Relationships didn't feel right. People didn't treat you very well overall. And
mhm,
yeah, like I just knew very deeply, probably from a very early age, that was just a very different person and I wanted something very different than that environment.
mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well,
where did you move to initially after high
yeah.
school?
So when I left, well, high school, I was still there. Like my dad killed himself when I was 18. So I was like just about to graduate, which kind of set off a lot of like very hard partying and disassociating and just not wanting to be myself essentially, and just very dark place. And it took me a while to get out of that. And obviously, like, as you know, like the environment of Moose Jaw is really good at keeping you in those places of like the constant partying and the drugs and everything else. So it's like really hard. Like if you separate your identity from that, like you're separating your identity from basically all your friends and everything you ever knew, and you like really have to start again. So yeah, so I was about 26 when I left, went to Ottawa with my sister. Like briefly took I had my RMT. I took my massage therapy in Regina before I left. Didn't want to stick with that. Took dental hygiene for like 3 months, hated it. My sister finished hers, that's what she was there for as well. And then I actually just started going to the gym excessively. Also got into yoga excessively for a little while too, but, um, I don't know, like, my, like, obsessive like, perfectionist personality kinda took over, and, like, the gym was something I could put everything into, and I think people that are, like, pretty broken can get really good at going to the gym and making things happen really fast, and that's kinda
Mhm.
what happened for me. So it, like, just took off very quickly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's super hard. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, Musha's really good at escapism, as you mentioned. Think, well, like you kind of have the people who are involved in, sports and like very academic, and then you kind of have the people who aren't, and they're like the party people. But they all come together at the end of the day, and everybody like parties, and that's all there really is to do there. I find as like a pastime. A lot of people, drink and whatnot, and it's very common. And I would totally agree with the gym, matching that kind of criteria, and it's a good escape as well. Like that's what it was for me. I mean, I wasn't so good at like getting on the straight and narrow when I moved to Vancouver. It took me a long time, but when I found the gym, that's what it was for me. Do you think that's what it was for you?
Yeah, and it was a really good thing and a maybe potentially something that I was also allowing me to not process a lot of stuff for a really long time. Like I kind of like blacked out for almost 2 years and like eat, slept, breathed. Like I don't know how I put muscle on. I was doing like 4 to 5 hours of cardio a day. I was going to the gym and hypertrophy training twice a day, like swimming 45 minutes in the morning, 2 spin classes, 45 minutes on the stair mill, like on and on and on and on and on as a natural athlete. And I outgrew bikini somehow. I don't know how that happened, but like I was just demolishing myself endlessly. And I was just like numb to like relationships and people. So I think it was, like, a very needed for me and, like, therapeutic in some ways. Like, I guess people talk about, I don't know, like facing your shadow self or something, where it's just like you kind of have to spend some time in those really dark places and figure
Mhm,
yourself out before you can go through the things that you like literally just can't. Because I feel like the way I grew up just really didn't equip me at all to process everything that I went through. So, like, I had to figure that out on my own, and the gym was kind of a good tool to, like, put all of that extra energy towards something in the meantime, so it didn't, like, destroy you completely.
mhm. No, it does make sense, for sure. I would 100% agree. It's definitely like a focus outlet for that internal energy. And have you ever like processed that, or do you still kind of like when did
I feel like
you
it's an
begin to
ongoing
process?
it's, like, an ongoing thing for probably anyone.
Mhm,
I try to go to therapy. It's very hard to find a therapist. I'm not really a person that believes for myself personally in medicating. I've definitely considered it, especially in like darker times of my life, but I've tried to put like healthy eating and sleep and, self-reflection and like other things in like the focus of like trying to process everything and like talking about it and like just educating myself on how to look at things differently, because as much as I feel like a lot of people try to fight it, ultimately, like if you treat the bad things that happened to you as something you can use, you become like, and you are so much a better person for it because of the way that you let it define you. Cause I feel like we have a choice in how we let things define us, like whatever negative or positive experience, like we can take the good from it either way, or we can take the bad.
yeah, unfortunately, we don't really have a choice in, the beginning. Yeah, everyone has very different sets of circumstances, different experiences, which we may not be able to choose either, right? Uh, Yeah, it's tough, like internally, like keeping those things locked in or, using them as fuel to become better and make the choice to, change your life. Or, you sit and dwell in the past, the choices that weren't really yours per se. I mean, even the choices that were yours, everyone makes mistakes, right?
For sure.
That's what life's about.
Definitely. Like it's all like learning, right? Like I feel like a lot of us are just so, especially with the social media thing and like everything else these days, it's so hard to not compare yourself all the time to everybody else. And like not only everybody else, but like, the highlight reel where you think that everybody else has this perfect life and nothing has ever happened to them. And like they're dealing with things so well and you wish that was you. But yeah, I feel like every single person almost at least has like, a lot of different things going on that they just choose not to necessarily share with the general population, which why would you?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is going through something, most aren't going to share that. I mean, that's life. What would life be if you weren't going through something? It'd be pretty goddamn boring, in my opinion. I mean, that's what makes life interesting.
Well, and if the
Sometimes
goal of
there's some
life
problems.
Sorry. If the goal of life is to like grow as a whatever you are inside of your skin into like and learn the lessons you need to learn and grow into the something that you need to be, you'll never do that if you don't have to go through stuff that challenges you in the ways that you require. And like obviously you can't say that with complete conviction that that is how it is, but I know at the end of the day, we kind of have to choose how, like, what things we kind of live our lives by.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I think it's just a good way to look at life that, you know, things are happening for a reason. They're happening for us, not to us. And it's kind of up to us to make the most that we can with what we're given.
Do you ever regret your decision to leave the Midwest, the prairies?
I mean, I'm not going to lie, like, a big part of me wants to go back. Not necessarily to Moose Jaw by any means, but, like, Saskatoon maybe. My mom is there, my family's there. Being in, like, the paramedic field, the RMT field, bodybuilding, like, with the amount that we know about health and, like, longevity and people taking care of themselves, I don't know. I just want to make sure my mom has the best life that she possibly can. So,
Mhm.
like, being around her is probably my biggest priority at this point.
Mm.
So, I might just return. She's not gonna
Really?
come here, so
No? She's not a city person at all?
she has her life there.
Yeah.
Moving her would be pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's funny, my mom lives not too far from her, actually. My mom lives in Central Butte,
Oh,
I
yeah, I
believe?
know Central Butte. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I
It's
don't
pretty
know,
close
it's
to
not
Moose
far down the road. Yeah. I mean, my mom's kinda the same way. She always goes crazy when she comes here, she's like, "It's too much." She's like, "It's just too much traffic." She's like, I couldn't handle living here."
Yeah, mine's the
Yeah,
same.
well, I'm like, there's literally, like, what, like, 50, like, 100 people there as well? No, obviously, it seems pretty it's like 10,000x the amount of people, you know?
Yeah, that's a lot. And, like, the senses of I will say, the smaller communities do have still, like, a little hint of, like, the old school, like, manners and mentalities, and as much as I
Mhm.
can, like, say a lot of not so great things about Saskatchewan and, like, small towns, that is something that I do miss.
Yeah, I mean, it's very traditional and yeah. I love Saskatchewan, I grew up there. I've worked with farmers, I've worked with guys in the oil field, I mean, I love those kind of people as well,
Mhm.
but I was, like, born in BC and my family moved to Saskatchewan, and then being who I am today, and I also moved back to Saskatchewan when I was, like, 25 for a year, and, yeah, I was, like, covered in tattoos and moved to another small town, Moss Bank, to work on a farm, and it's so judgmental. Like, it is so judgy. You,
Were
like,
you
instantly feel it when you walk into, like, the restaurant. Like, everybody is looking at you and everybody's thinking about you. It's just like, oh, it's so cringe.
you hadn't started bodybuilding yet then, had you?
No, no.
Okay, because that was, like, probably my biggest ick of going back to Saskatchewan, especially when I was, like, at my heaviest, like,
Mhm,
going to Moose Jaw, like, the comments that people would make about my body very freely, and, like, the things they would say, the things that were, like, I'm gonna swear, fucking atrocious. Like,
yeah,
unbelievable. Some of the things that people were that would never happen in BC.
mhm.
But there,
Yeah,
like,
and
I would be walking down the street and, like, a half drunk 45, 50-year-old group of men would comment on my body,
mhm,
which was, like, insane to me. I would see people that I haven't seen in 10, 15 years that I used to party with, and, like, the first thing out of their mouths is, again, like, something derogatory,
mhm.
which, like, really fucked with me, like, a lot.
Yeah, no, I would agree. There's some like it's very traditional and they're just used to, their own routine, their own like environment and they just fucking hate seeing anything that's outside of that. And yeah, if you come out, you're like an outsider. I mean, even when we moved there when we were young from BC, it was like that. It's like if they just think you're weird or something like you're a hippie or something. And then when I came back with like tattoos all over my hands, I just didn't feel like someone who fit in. Everybody's like super proper and everybody's just sitting at their tables, just saying stuff, and you're just like, oh my
That
God.
being said, I feel very tattooed here. I feel like there's a lot of tattooed people in Moose Jaw. Like people love tattoos in Moose Jaw and like Regina. Here, I feel very tattooed in like
Mhm.
most circles. Like I feel like we have more. I don't even have that many tattoos, but I feel like we have more tattoos than more people.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just some of the small towns there, like Moss Bank, those super small towns where it's just a bunch of old farmers and stuff. But everywhere's growing, I think, culturally, like Saskatoon has some like super cool food spots now, some nice gyms, some like nice fashion clothing spots and whatnot now. more like trendy businesses opening up, which is cool to see. I think there's a lot of opportunity out there for like new starts as well. I mean, out here, obviously everyone has like trendy businesses, cool designs, like really cool ideas and stuff, but everyone's doing it. So I think that's a benefit going back there,
For
being
sure.
able to open up to those opportunities that really haven't started there yet. I mean, you could take lots of great ideas from here and go there and, create businesses that would be successful.
I remember, like, it used to be a saying when I was growing up that people would always say that, like, Saskatchewan and, like, kinda like the same provinces, Alberta and Winnipeg, are, like, 10 years behind, like, Vancouver and Toronto in terms of, like,
Mhm,
everything, culture, everything. Technology, healthcare, like, we were just always super behind.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, even just, like, cool food spots, like, cool, like, trendy, like, burger spots and stuff, even those, opening those up and
Sushi.
whatnot.
I think Moose Bar got its first sushi place, like, not that long ago, maybe 5 or 6 years
Really?
ago.
Really? Yeah, I'm not a sushi guy myself. I always tried to be. I've kind of been like honest. I'm opening up and being more honest with people now because I always tried to fake the funk. I think maybe some people do that because it seems like everybody likes sushi, and that cannot be possible. I think some people are just trying to do it to be cool, but because I don't like sushi, I try for so long to be cool and eat sushi, but now I'm like every time I eat it, I'm just like this is
The
not
fast
it. I mean,
boy in you.
I'd rather just have like a hot meal. I don't know, like a burger or something.
And I love sushi. I would rather eat raw fish 100 times over than, like, cooked salmon. I fucking hate cooked salmon.
Yeah, see, I'm completely opposite.
That being said, I've eaten so much fish in a prep that, like, I'm good, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Fish and prep is hard. Fish and prep, you have to like master a really good recipe. Mine was always I used Dorian Hamilton's recipe, and you just take like salmon and then you just like fry it and super crispy and put on like sweet and spicy and like some salmon spice and it's like really crispy. It's kind of like ground beef, but it's really good. That was
Get
always
coach
my go.
maybe 2 years in, and, like, for, like, 4 meals a day, it was, like, just ridiculous amounts of tilapia over and over, like, so much. I was cooking, like, fucking bags of tilapia 24/7, and it was all I would eat, and now I'm just like, "No, I can't eat whitefish now, like, I'm done. Not
Yeah,
gonna
I tell
happen."
every cold. Yeah, they're always like, "What food won't you eat?" I'm like, "White fish. I will not eat white fish. I don't fucking care what your reason is. I'm not eating white fish. Like, I can do Argentinian shrimp, like the really ballin' Costco shrimp, but I can't do the cheap shrimp. That stuff tastes gross. But the nice fancy shrimp, those I can do. But other than that, it doesn't fucking make a difference. Like, you could eat chicken, it doesn't make a difference. You don't have to eat fish. Absolutely makes no sense.
There's just all those old, everybody had their, like, old whatever Coach secrets, like fish makes your skin thin and all this shit that everybody used to do. And eat fruit. God, I don't know how many years I didn't eat fruit because you weren't supposed to eat fruit as a bodybuilder.
Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird. So when did you start competing? When did you start working with coaches?
So in the very end of 2017, I believe, I was like, I don't know, in the gym a lot, seeing, like, at the time, Melissa Bumstead was someone that I was like, wow, like, she's such, like, beautiful, blah, blah. Wanted to get into that. At the time when you're starting, and she was never ever big. And that time she'd never even gone to her biggest. I was like, but that's way too big for me. I'm gonna do bikini. So funnily enough, though, I had a buddy who were friends with Ian and Mel. I was living in Ottawa at the time and asked if he could give me her number to coach me. So she was my first coach.
Oh, cool.
Can't say a lot about that experience, but did my first show in Ontario. Somehow fucking like won. I think there was like 45 novices
Hmm.
in the entire show for bikini. It was insane. And I got first in that, which was crazy. And I got second for my height class, my first show. I did not look good. Like, I feel like the standard of starting, like, changed surmountably as like social media became bigger, getting coaches getting big. Like, the sport grew a lot from like 2018 to like 2021, where
Mhm.
like suddenly people doing their first shows like typically now look really fucking good. But like back then, like your first show, you looked like shit. Like I looked like shit. So, but apparently, but I did well. So whatever. Did the natural pro qualifier a little bit after that. I actually looked really fucking good, and I probably would have come close to winning or would have won. It was like crazy living circumstances. Like my apartment was not a safe living environment and there was no AC and it was like a plus 40 summer. I did not peak well. Let's just say that. From there, it just became really apparent that I couldn't stay in bikini. Because even
Mhm.
after like a year of not knowing what the fuck I was doing and having the worst fucking coach ever, I grew too much. So went to open, went to figure, and then kind of just competed in figure for the foreseeable future. And got like I was turned out like really good at teaching myself how to train properly, really good at eating properly, really good at building muscle. So right before or during COVID, I actually did a shoot with my friend Steph for Frank McGrath's first clothing line. And Mutant saw that, offered me a contract as a model for their stuff, which then evolved into being an athlete for them. And then I was fully sponsored by them. And yeah, competed at quite a few big shows. And that was that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And who was your last coach?
That I competed with,
Yeah.
Ben Chow.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. He was my coach for my last 3 shows.
What made you wanna work with him?
He had reached out after the show I had done before that in Toronto and just like commended me on my shape. I was getting quite a lot
Mhm.
of traction on Instagram at that time.
Mhm.
A lot of big coaches were seeing me, like a lot of big names were seeing me, which was super great. And so after he had messaged me about how great my physique was, I asked him to coach me. And that was kind of that.
So where are you at now with the whole competing thing?
So before last year, I was considering doing another run at figure. I was kind of weighing my options for it. I kind of knew, like, in my, like, I just knew deep down that if I did another show, that there were some sacrifices that I would have had to make that I wasn't comfortable making. Like, there were things that I would have traded that I wasn't comfortable trading. The amount that I gave of myself to the sport in general, to the IFBB, to competing, and like the return on that, I guess, like at the end of the day, bodybuilding, like you have to look at it as like, this isn't something you do for your whole life. It is not good for you. So are you aiming to be an IFBB pro that makes money at being an IFBB pro? Or are you trying to get your pro card to segue into like coaching? Those are kind of the two only avenues.
Mhm.
A lot of sacrifice, I think, especially as a female, comes when you decide that you're going to be an IFBB pro professionally for quite a while.
Mhm.
And I feel like though I have opinions on how certain shows should have ended up, I feel like I had a pro level physique many years ago and I wasn't recognized for it. And that's just how it goes. You can't control what judges feel is right for you
Mhm.
in the sport. And I don't know, it kind of felt like the world, like the universe was telling me that I needed to stop in a way as well. Because if I think if I had gone pro, I think it would have been harder to walk away. Obviously, a part of me feels that like it was hard to walk away because a part of me felt that that was owed to me. Because as you know, I never went pro. So it felt owed to me after everything I sacrificed. But I feel like now that I'm have a different perspective and like way like time away from it, I feel like if I had gone pro, it would have been so much harder to walk away, especially once I feel like this is something that all women have to struggle with is their identities inside and outside of the sport and what they're willing to give up for it. And after you cross a certain line, there's really no going back.
Mhm.
And then you're also then not really able to give an unbiased opinion of what you had to give up for that. And like when you're telling other women and females going into the sport, like the women that have given those things up will always give a biased opinion, saying that it was worth it, saying that they would do it again, saying that, like they love that they did this thing. And I feel like this is such a polarizing thing for me to say and talk about. But it scares me how little information is presented in regards to, especially to women, what they're going to have to give up to go at a certain level in the sport, especially if you're not staying in fucking fit model.
Do you wanna tell what are some of those things you have to give up?
Over time, if you don't stop, your voice, your facial structure, the fat pads in your face, you're going to age faster. Your skin texture is going to get way worse. The shape of your face will change. Other physical aspects of your body will change. Hair growth. These things don't go away and you're not reversing them. And that was just, again, some women are okay with giving these things up, which is totally fine, to each their
Mhm,
own. I just
mhm.
feel like there needs to be so much more honesty and transparency around that's going to happen. It's not like a maybe. It's not like a if you play it really really no, it's going to happen. Like
Yeah.
there's no safe level of androgens for women. There's just not.
Yeah, and I'll be realistic, like, I'm a guy who bodybuilds, takes gear, has taken multiple grams of gear, high dosages. I've worked in construction, I've, like you could consider me a hard knock kind of fucking guy, but I've, had moments where I'm like, "Fuck, this is not a good decision," and you see the changes, and I've dialed things way back since then, and that's coming from like a guy. So to say like a woman is never, she's like, no, is worth it. I think that's, kind of an absurd statement and just like such an obsolete statement to make. Like, I don't know if it's all 100%. I'm sure there is some regret,
Well,
buried in there.
you can't tell me that like if you did that to yourself that you want to admit to people that you regret it. Because you don't even want to
Mhm,
admit it to yourself. What a terrible thing to admit to yourself that you did something that you will never be able to reverse for a plastic trophy.
mhm.
Like, that's fucked,
Yeah. And like
honestly.
you and like you said, to each their own, like anyone can do what they want. I mean, I was watching that Alex Holland. I can't remember his name. The guy who just climbed the skyscraper. He was
Oh,
climbing
I
some
saw
like
that.
climbing some crazy mountain in like Greenland. Like he had to take a boat to get out there. And some people would say like it's fucking stupid. But like to each their own, like whatever makes you happy, whatever you want to do, to live your life.
Bodybuilding, and I will always love the sport. I will
Mhm.
always hypertrophy train, and I will always take so many aspects of what makes bodybuilding through the
Mhm.
entire course of my life. I just feel like whenever we get into extremes of literally anything, that's when we see the reward and like the risk start
Mhm.
slowly like shifting places.
Yeah, well,
The
it's
older
good
you
for
are and like the more risk, the more times you do a prep, the more risk. And just every time, it gets a little harder and a little worse. So it's just like we're telling people to really make sure you can step back and not getting, because I feel like when I was bodybuilding 2, 3 years ago, my entire world was bodybuilding. I followed every single show. I knew what everybody in the pro level was doing. I listened to every single podcast. The world did not exist outside of the Arnold, the Olympia, blah 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 blah. And
Mhm.
that's scary, especially if that world, as lovely as it is going to ultimately not it's not going to be there forever for one, and it's going to ask you to sacrifice a lot of big parts of yourself to push for something that maybe you don't need to go 100% in. You can still love it and not have it completely dominate your life because I don't know. For me, like I'm ADHD and autistic, and a lot of that helped me in bodybuilding so much. It did not help me competing. It did not help me on show day at all. If I can't, like, first of all, like, you feel like fucking garbage. And I could never get into a good mood. I put so much pressure on myself. I'm such a perfectionist. I have to do everything so perfectly all the time that I end up like I'm a big water holder on show day because of just how high my anxiety is and how like
Mm.
ready I am to literally have a panic attack. After almost every single show I've had to go in my room after and have a full breakdown because I'm just so overwhelmed. And then depending on how the show obviously went as well, which again, like you have no control over, you never have a deciding factor in yourself. But because of how my autistic brain works, I need to understand how something works always, and it has to make sense. So if something doesn't make sense to me, if an outcome doesn't make sense to me, then like my brain shuts down. So like even like I've had clients who I know should have won a show. They looked fucking crazy
Mm.
and they get beat by someone who was not in shape. And it's just a show. And,
Mhm.
they're going to keep competing. It's not a big deal. It's going to be okay. But the way my brain works is, do I have to consider or reconsider everything that I think and I know about bodybuilding now because it's wrong? Because this doesn't make sense. So it kind of became really negative for me in certain ways just because of how my brain works,
Mhm.
because it's so subjective. And I struggle with subjectivity, I think, a lot, especially when you have so much skin in the game. When you're 100% into the sport, it's hard not for it to affect your entire being.
Mhm. For sure. Well, I think there's a few things to unpack there. Like, I would start with saying, like, it's good for what you said because the sport is rising in popularity. First on that, rising in popularity, like a lot of young people are getting into it, which is awesome. But I think you should pursue the natural, pursue it as long as you can. I mean, I didn't start taking gear till I was 25, 26 years old. I just talked to a kid yesterday in the gym, 18, running anabolics. I doubt he's had blood work done. I mean, doesn't sound like, it sounds like he's kind of just, he told me he's just, making it work at the moment. Cause I asked him if he's working with a coach because he said he was going to be competing soon. So he said, no, he's just making it work at the moment. So, I doubt he's taking, proper supplementation to mitigate the health effects and things along those lines. And that's just for, a man. So, let alone a female. There's lots of females, young girls, young women coming up in this space in the industry. I mean, it's an awesome sport and it's super, I don't know what's the proper word? Like, it's like super, like, I don't know, it's like glitz and glamour. Like, it's super, like, it's like it's like an amazing presentation. Like, you get to put on like this nice suit, all these like jewels and
Very
stuff, present your
glamorized.
hair. Yeah, very glamorous. That's the word, right? So it's like a very glamorous presentation, this pursuit of yourself. But there is that I wouldn't that the other side to it, and that's like the enhanced side, right? And if you are young making that decision, that is a lifelong decision. So just make sure you think about that decision, long. And I don't think you can think about it long enough because inevitably, if you want to do something, you're going to do it. And it's only later in life are you going to look back and be like, fuck, maybe
I
I
feel like
shouldn't have done this.
too, a lot of people like they get their first coach and they're really scared to get outside opinions. And if you have a
Mhm.
coach that like dissuades you from like talking to anybody, that really scares me because I never ran anything crazy, but I had some coaches putting me on shit that I definitely never should have been put on. Like
Mhm.
in terms of like stuff at the end of prep and like estrogen blockers for like a couple of weeks where the amounts were like, what the fuck are you doing? Like looking back, like I was naive and didn't know. And I'm, the type of person where it's like, I'm putting all of my trust in you, like, what's best. Like with how saturated coaching is now, especially, your coach most definitely might not know what's best. And
Mhm.
getting an outside opinion, if you do not feel safe or you do not feel good about something, fucking ask someone else.
Yeah. And honestly, like the coaching space is massive now. You should be doing your work, your research. If a coach has a problem with you, I had this one time a coach gave me shit because he said I was shopping around. Like, no, I ain't shopping around. I'm seeing, who provides the best service. Like, that's what this is about. I mean, I'm paying you fucking money, so I want to know who provides the best service. Just like if I was going to take my car to a mechanic, I want to know who's the best fucking mechanic, who has the best value, who has the most knowledge, right? So you should do that too when you're picking a coach, and you should work with somebody who's knowledgeable. There's lots of people who are knowledgeable out there. You don't have to put yourself in harm's way, right? So
I
it's an
think
awesome sport to get into, but you have to think about your health, and especially for females, like you said. So,
I think it's such an overwhelming thing to get into. There's so many different parts on it. There's so many different things to learn, especially if you're somebody who's never even worked out before, really.
mm,
Like, people are just so, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's way too much all at once. It's so intimidating to get into that, like, they just want to like latch onto somebody and like give them the, take control, do the thing, help me out, which is understandable, but it's like you really need to also be working with somebody who wants to educate you along the way and who is encouraging you to learn about this stuff yourself. Like, you should not just be taking, information as gospel blindly all the time and not doing your due diligence, especially when you're introducing androgens that will alter you forever.
and yeah, like that, like even that goes the same with like the mechanic analogy. It's the same thing. Like if someone was going to work on your car, you were probably going to, throw it in Google, double check what they told you, like it doesn't hurt to, resource information and learn on your own as well. But like I always worked with a coach ever since I started. Ever since I got into bodybuilding, I worked with the coach. I pretty much have the entire time, maybe a few periods of breaks here and there, but I love working with coaches because like get to know their knowledge, bounce ideas off them, learn things, learn other perspectives. I mean, I don't think there is any one way that works in this beautiful sport of bodybuilding. I think there's like many ways to make it work and present an optimal physique, so or whatever that may be, but I think you always have to do your own due diligence, but
I think too, in the last couple of years, there has been a lot more women coaches who do focus on women's health and do present really good information online. And like, those are the people that I'm like, this is who you should be listening to. I feel like when I started, there was just like, you were just treated like a man, like the same protocols for peaking, the same protocols for everything. And it's like, that's not what works.
yeah, I think it's come a long way in that space for sure. I think there's a lot of yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I mean, like you said, you started in what it was like almost 28. Would you
It's
would
at
you
the
say?
beginning of 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like the rise in popularity of the sport is like astronomical, especially when COVID hit. I think a lot of people, even though without the access to the gyms, I think that transitioned a lot of people into focusing on their health, which then like people caught into the bodybuilding space. I mean, once you like transition your algorithm to the health space, you're going to start noticing these like physique athletes. And obviously that's going to be very appealing because they're like at the upper end of the echelon of like physique development. You're like, oh, that looks cool. Then you start looking into the sport and then you're like, oh, this exists. And I want to do this. And
I think we lose sight too when we get so far into the sport, like how not normal we are and how not normal we look
mhm,
in compared, like, because it's just like the amount of muscle we've put on, the amount of shape that you have, that like, it's like people don't realize how much effort that takes and like how
mhm,
many years that takes, how much food that takes, all the things that you have to do to get there, and how dedicated you have to be over years and years of consistency. Whereas
mhm.
people are like, "Oh, I wanna look like this, like, in 2 months," and it's like,
Yeah, that's funny
"No."
because this kid I was talking to at the gym yesterday, he's like, so he wants to compete in the summertime, and he's like, I'm like, you should start prepping now. And he's like, "Oh, I was honestly gonna like do another push up here and like try and hit my weight cap." He's already like he needs like says 6 month diet phase. He's at about 210 right now. I would probably say he would be on stage around 168, 165 to 170, like really diced. But he's like, no, I want to do a little 230. I'm like, huh? I'm like, well, that weight cap is peeled. That's like stage weight. That's not the way it works. He's like, well, I still have time, right? Like I'll have 8 weeks to diet into the show. I'm like, no, bro, you need fucking 24 weeks. I'm like, you start now, bro. Like, you got to get peeled. Like, you got 40 pounds to come off. You don't see it, but trust me, it's there. Like, you got a lot of work to do, right? So I was like, I've been like bodybuilding now for 10 years. I'm like barely at that 230 weight cap. Like, it's going to take you a long time, bro. You ain't going to hit it in fucking 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever the fuck you're
Great.
thinking. You know what I mean?
No, I especially with how little experience in the gym and stuff people usually have when they first come to you, like, yeah, I was hoping to do like a 12-week prep, like respectfully get fucked. Like it's not gonna happen. Like women alone, I'm like, I would like 20 weeks at least.
Yeah.
Especially and if you have no experience whatsoever, I'm just like, just see like obviously you would never tell them, but it's like you're not gonna look like a bodybuilder the first time you go on stage. Not a good
Mm-hmm.
one. Like you
Mm-hmm.
just don't have the muscle. You just don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it takes a long time. And you fuck, what was I gonna say? I forgot.
That's okay. Most of the time though too, like, none of them actually know how to lift properly.
Mhm,
And, like, even just trying to get somebody to understand the connection that they need to have with their body to intuitively move weight in order to grow in a hypertrophic way, sometimes they never ever learn that,
mhm,
let alone trying to pick up the habits of like, "Oh my god, can you just stick to a fucking week of food?" Like, I have very few clients right now because I'm just working with people that I know fucking I can rely on. They don't like it's not every single check-in. It's like, "Oh, I ate like shit, blah, blah, blah this time. Oops, did it again. Oops, did it again." Yeah, I'll
mhm,
send you like never sends me videos of them working out. When they do, I'm like, "What the are you doing?" You know, and it's
yeah,
just like it's exhausting working with those people because they're not ready and they're not committed.
yeah, they just wanna tell somebody they work with a coach.
They just want to be jacked,
Like
but
the
like
same
not have
person.
to do any work.
Yeah, so there is people who go to the gym that say they go to the gym, and those people are just the people who go to the gym and sit on their phone for fucking half an hour and then get up and leave. Like, yeah, I went to the gym. Yeah, you went to the gym. You were definitely in the gym, but you walked in and out of the gym, but you went there, but you didn't fucking do anything there. Like,
You
there's a difference. Like, you work with a coach, okay, that's great. Like, do you do what they tell you to do, or do you just work with a coach? Like, do you just pay them? Because that's awesome, but that doesn't fucking mean anything.
I find this is not an important distinction to a lot of people, I think, but I do find it hilarious the amount of like people in general, but like men call themselves bodybuilders. And it's like, "Oh, have you ever competed?" Well, no. Do you what? And like they've never competed. They've never even done like a diet before. They just like think because they follow something that maybe looks slightly like hypertrophy training, they're a bodybuilder. And to me, I'm like,
Mhm.
no, you're not. You're not. Stop saying that.
You're a bodybuilder if you do not compete, you're a bodybuilder if you live the lifestyle. Like, I always thought of bodybuilding at an extreme level, like a Buddhist religion or something. Like, it's almost like a religion. You're a bodybuilder if you eat your meals every day. 6 meals, 5 meals, whatever that is. You tick those boxes every day, 7 days a week. You do not miss. You get your cardio in, you take your supplements, you hydrate, you do your stretching, you hit all your recovery protocols, you get your sleep in, you get your steps in, you go train, you pose. You are a bodybuilder. Whether you compete or not, I would say that.
I would
But
agree.
mhm.
And I would say too, like, you're all yeah, you're taking care of your body. If I can look at you, I should be able to tell.
Mhm.
That's another for me, like, yeah, if you live the lifestyle long enough to a T, you're gonna look like a bodybuilder in, like, a couple years. So, like, if I
Mhm.
look at you and you don't look like a bodybuilder, like, I'm like, Maybe you're like
Yeah.
a like you want to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah. I mean, I see it a lot in construction. There's a lot of like what I call bro builders, like bro bodybuilders, like bro cycles, the dumbest shit you ever heard. Fucking guys eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stuff. It's just, what are you doing, dude? So, what does your life look like now? You're not really focused on competing or anything. I know you're in some studies.
Yeah, I've been downsizing my upper body for like a year and a half now,
Hmm.
which takes a lot of time. Annoyingly, muscle doesn't like to go away when it's very dense. So that's a work in progress. I still train lower body consistently 3 to 4 times a week, but I just finished like the bulk of my paramedic school. Just trying to finish the like practical shifts more or less that I have to get before I challenge my licensing exam. So I'm studying for that. And then there's like a program through my school that I took paramedic at that like recognizes some of the credits from paramedic, that you continue taking courses towards your bachelor's. So like my goal is to get my bachelor's in the background as well. So like right now I'm taking a psychology class, but yeah. And as far as like body goals and stuff like that, like more leaning into like peptides now and like being the best version of myself that I like feel authentically in. Like 2.5 years ago, I looked in the mirror and I just honestly didn't know what I was like, who I was looking at. And I had built this identity so much around what I thought I had to be for this sport. And like, and then like, I really had to face like why the fuck I was doing that,
Hmm.
which is a very hard thing to do and like to walk away from. So much of my identity was bound into like building muscle and getting bigger and stronger and blah blah blah, and like my sponsorship was all of that, and like so much of my identity and like so much of like you know I'm this respectable woman within the community because because of my symmetry and my muscle, and like constantly being told like how much of a successful pro I would be, and like constantly having people push me in that direction. And like, I really had to ask if that's what I wanted for myself. So now I just want to feel good about myself and like good in my body. I have like not the best back too. Like, I was born with two fused discs in my spine and they are slightly arthritic now. So obviously lifting the amount that I was with my back was not doing me any favor. So I feel a lot better now that I have lost some size and I'm not destroying my back a couple times a week. My hips kind of hurt because I'm destroying those instead, but it's fine. But yeah, and just yeah, I'm enjoying being in BC still, but we'll kind of see what happens. I'm hoping by the summer I'm completely done paramedic license, and then I can kind of decide what's best for me moving forward. A little part of me wonders if after I turn 35, I challenge Masters Wellness, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like. Do you think? Does it feel like like leaving all that kind of behind for now is just like a weight off your shoulders? I mean.
Yes and no. Like I'm not like I've tracked food for 8 years. I did this,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I did all the things for 8 years. I'm like eating less now. I'm like not tracking food because obviously I know how to feel my body pretty well at this point.
Hmm.
It's just nice to take a step back and like have less pressure on myself, not constantly. I'm not doing check-ins anymore. Haven't done check-ins for almost a year, which is crazy. Like there was a time where I could not imagine not weighing my fucking chicken. There wasn't a time where I couldn't imagine ever not getting up on Sunday and taking videos of my body in a fucking bikini and like analyzing every single part of myself. And it's just so nice to not have that pressure. Like as it is, like as a woman, like I feel so much pressure to constantly be pretty and perfect and attractive and blah, 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 blah. And just like those added layers of bodybuilding on top of it was just so much all the time.
Hmm. Can be exhausting.
Yeah. If you're someone who, that need to be perfect for the stage, like, weighs on you, it can get exhausting. I'm sure
Mhm.
you, like, probably experienced some of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I kinda know myself, like, I'm not the biggest competitive bodybuilder. I love bodybuilding myself. I compete in open. I'm also, like, 5'11", so I have to be a pretty big guy up there to, do well. And, yeah, obviously, like you said, there's some, like, risk involved with that, like, pushing to that next level, and yeah, it is a lot of pressure. I mean, everybody, like, fuck, literally everybody asks me, "Oh, when are you competing next?" Bro, I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm one of those people I've competed twice, like, I don't care, like, I'm not one of those people who's like, "Oh, I'm so stoked to get on stage and compete every fucking year, 3, 4 times a year, I'm gonna compete all year," like,
Most of those people look like shit. So
yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, it's cool and stuff, you got your pictures and stuff, like, but to me, it's like the stage is there to run the circuit, and if you're there to run the circuit, like, you're there to do good and fucking win shows and make a name for yourself. Like, Marcelo, he's the guy who competed at my last show in amateurs, he fucking smoked everybody out. He was in my category, right? Smokes everybody, and then fucking gets his pro card. Olympia the same year in, like, 6 months, right? So to me, that's bodybuilding. To me, that's what the stage is for. Like, fucking everybody asks me, like, "Oh, when are you competing?" I don't know, bro. When I'm 240 pounds, like, when I know I'm the fucking baddest out there and I can confidently beat everyone. Until then, I don't really. It doesn't even cross my mind. I just fucking doing it, right? So.
I saw so many girls in the figure division basically just like yeah, like 6 months off, basically just enough to recover back into prep for the next year. They look exactly the same and they're basically just praying that nobody good shows up. I'm
Mhm.
like, what is the point of that? You have no legs.
Mhm.
Like, go learn how to train. If you have been training for 5 plus 6, 7 years and your legs are still tiny, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Why are you dieting?
Yeah, I think minimum you need at least like a 2-year off season between for optimal results. Like, but that's just me. I don't know. I like the gym more than anything. Like the gym was originally a place that like got me out of addiction, got me out of partying, just got me on the straight and narrow. And then working with a coach, like for me, it was like sounds so fucking corny, but it was like a father figure to me that I never had and just like gave me that like male role model like that what it meant to be a fucking man and what it meant to be a leader because I never had that growing up in Musha. I mean, I lived on my own. I was surrounded just by a bunch of fucking kids who partied. And I mean, there wasn't really any like role models around per se. So that's what like the gym was for me. And so I never, competing was always secondary. I did it, it's fun. I will do it again, but that's always a back end thing for me. And I love like the industry. I love the sport. But more than anything, I just love seeing people get healthy. Like, I don't really care so much about bodybuilding, even as a coach myself. Like, I don't care to work with bodybuilders. I'd rather work, with just general people, people looking to change their life and, become high performers and feel better and live optimally, not get dragged down by stupid life stresses and problems they have and be able to navigate health issues on their own and not have to go to the doctor and get strung around and whatnot. So that's my goal now in the space, other than more than anything. But that's me.
Through paramedic right now because I'm doing 12-hour shifts on car and stuff. Like the amount of people that I see all day that are so sick and on 12 medications for the 12 and they're like and they just have no idea how to take care of themselves. Like most people have no capacity to understand even just like a basic level of care for themselves. And it's so sad and so hard to see that it's just there's just so much ignorance around, most people don't even know what a macro is.
Yeah.
And it's just it's heartbreaking, like, just knowing how many people could be thriving in their lives if they just, like, took initiative and, like, responsibility for themselves and, like, put the effort into, like, learning how, to save themselves instead of just, like, waiting for the government or the healthcare system to come up with a magical pill that's gonna save their lives. It's like it's doesn't work like that. Like it has to come from you. And it has to be your decision and your changes and your commitment and your consistency, or it's never going to happen.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. It's just the way our system works now, and it's not. There's no such thing as common sense, and there's a lack of information when it comes to the health space, and it's always been that way. And no doctor is gonna like. They're not there to prevent issues. They're there to prescribe when issues arise, and they're not gonna mitigate and keep you healthy. So there is people out there, like you can go to a functional health doctor, things like that. I mean, is extremely expensive to
I
work
was
with,
going to
like,
say
natural paths,
most of them
but
aren't covered.
exactly, so it kinda puts people in the corner, right? So this is the cool thing about the bodybuilding industry. A lot of, like, the advances in the health space are anecdotal through bodybuilding practice and are noticed, like, far before any practice in medicine, so there's lots of coaches in the bodybuilding space, doing big things with functional health. I've even had clients, come off statins. Their doctors had them prescribed for years. Come on.
And there's
Come on.
so much information being put out now about like the actual complex things happening in the body around hypertension and all these different things and like what's actually happening in the liver and the kidney and like the hormone discrepancies and like how to actually mitigate these things without putting someone on something as crazy as a fucking beta blocker or like a
Mhm,
calcium channel blocker or like these things that are like limiting the heart's capacity to function.
mhm,
And like so much of this information, it's really unfortunate that most of this information is being blocked um,
mhm.
because doctors and the government need to make money. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's good there's people like, I guess, like us out there. I don't wanna toot my own horn, but even people like you, to give people that information. Like, I try and make posts every day just kinda giving out, like, free information, so hopefully that helps some people out there. I like to give, supplement protocols and stuff that actually work, so you don't have to, rely on getting stringed along by your doctor and shit like that, so.
I have a question for you
Mm,
because so I saw this girl who will remain nameless. She's a high level bodybuilder, wellness, do a podcast and she was talking about how she believed that the best bodybuilders that can like push themselves completely in the gym, like destroy body parts, like grow properly. All of those are usually like they come from being athletes in their younger life and that's where they learn that. I have a differing opinion. Obviously there are some people like that. But I think that people who are the best trainers, like the best people at training themselves, at pushing themselves past limits are, besides people that learned it from like pushing in sports, are people that didn't have sports growing up, but that probably had like a pretty traumatic, like something really traumatic happened to them or like a really dark time in their life that like allowed them to basically, for me, I got into the gym because physical pain replaced all of the basically mental pain that I felt in my head. And I could dig so deeply physically that it would override the mental pain that I was feeling. And that's, I believe, how I grew so fast and how I got so strong and so good at doing that. What do you think that comes from?
yeah, I mean, I think I can agree with both sides. This is coming from somebody who's on the same side as you. Like, I never played sports growing up. I don't really never really cared for team sports myself. Always more like extreme sports kind of thing, but either way, I never really had any athletic pursuits growing up. But I think there is people who, had athletic backgrounds who do pursue or do like grow well. And if we're talking strictly hypertrophy, they're going to make good progress because they already have that like foundational framework, groundwork from like a very young age. But like you said, there's like a person like Dorian Yates or just like comes from a hard background and puts in that raw work and the emotion and the grind. And I think there's more than enough examples of like that in history. I mean, even just in pop culture and like just in our lifetime of people who've made like great achievements, made great successes, who literally come from nothing. I think that's probably more common than people who come from greatness, like.
Is there like something that you tell your clients or like something that you think would work for people that didn't have either of those things to lean on? Because there's like a lot of people in the gym that they just don't, it just doesn't seem to be something that clicks for them, the level that they have to bring themselves to like reach true like hypertrophy training. And like, do you think that is there something that you like tell your clients or something that you like think yourself that would change those people's perspectives enough to like be able to break that barrier?
I don't think they have it.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have it or you don't. Like, you should know, like, this is what we do. We go and train hard. Like, not like there's many examples of that. Like, we could go on about this for a long time, but at the end of the day, like, what this fucking sport is. You've seen old training videos. You should know it's like intensity. You should go being able to train hard. If you can't like bring that up in yourself, you can't, start that fire in yourself. Maybe there's a coach out there like CT Fletcher, somebody who can fucking bark down your neck, or like those guys at like the Diamond Gym. I think, they inspire a lot of young kids I think they are inspiring a lot of young kids to, light that fire under their ass. I think that's probably what social media is really good for. I think I fall victim to it. Like, I find those videos super motivating, like that's just like a rough and dirty gym. And maybe it's not optimal per se, but they're putting in the work, and they're developing mindsets of like never quit, you know? Like, they're not trying to get perfect reps. They're doing stupid shit realistically when it comes to hypertrophy, but it's what they're developing is the mindset, the mindset to never quit. And that falls into every area of your life, right? Like, you wouldn't quit now. Like, if you lost your job, you have to feed your family, you're not going to quit. Like, this is exactly what they say, right? So kind of ties over. But I think you have it or you don't. Like the original question, yeah, I think like a lot of tough fucking people and a lot of like great people come from nothing. Obviously a lot of amazing people come from greatness too, rich families, they have the means to, get that trajectory in life. But there's also a lot of people who rise from the ashes and become diamonds, so.
Yeah. I think it's either like you are able to, like, you're privileged to be able to be around people that teach you those things
Mm-hmm.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or if you don't, you have to reach a breaking point within yourself and relying on what you have to reach that level and kind of decide that that's what you want to be.
Yeah, what you said is perfect. Like, you had the privilege, you had like the opportunity to, seize that knowledge from other people. But if you didn't have that, you have to be willing to, go get it, So there's some people out there who are, and maybe with the training thing, like, it's hard, I've always just like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I've always trained hard. Like, I've always known, like, this is what the gym's about. I always watch training videos. Like, my favorite guys to watch, like, when I'm feeling like a little bitch is like Brett Wilkin or like Martin, like those guys train like fucking animals. Like, they train so hard, and I could never do one of their leg days ever. Like, it's just like astronomical. They'll do so much shit, and you're just like, what the fuck, and then so maybe something like that can spark some drive in people. But
Do you
really,
struggle? Do you struggle to like train in like commercial gyms where there's like no even remotely training hard people in sight?
well, I noticed a post the other day. Someone at West Coast Iron posted like, this gym is the shit because there's so much like competitive nature, and there's like a fire under everybody's ass, and like 2026 gonna be sick. Because like there's so many like, well, I'll agree, there's a lot of good athletes there. There's a lot of good, men in the sport who train there. There's a lot of big fucking guys. So yeah, I can agree with that. But Total Fitness does Like, there's not a lot of people who train like crazy hard there. It's a little bit more docile gym. Like, I wouldn't say the fucking environment or energy is like banging by any means, but like it's just white walls and like there's some music in there, but it's not the loudest and whatnot, right? So more of a community center, but I have no problem with it. And I think I don't know, would I, if I trained at West Coast Iron, would I grow more because there's those other people there? I don't know. I feel like I grow just fine where I'm at.
Yeah. I feel like for the most part, as long as you have good equipment, it's fine, you know? That being said,
Yeah,
I've been in some commercial gyms and I'm like, "I can't be here. This is
yeah.
bad."
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a little spoiled with equipment. I think, like, really, at the end of the day, if you really want to get after it, like, even just a set of, like, dumbbell, like, realistically, a set of dumbbells and barbell, pull down, whatever, you could probably do what you have to do. Even now, like, my training split, some days I'll just be annoyed waiting for stuff. I'll just go grab something else, you know? Some days I don't want to do progressive overload. Some days I don't want to do a top set. Some days I just want to do, like, 3 sets. I just train however the fuck I want to train. End of the day, I train hard.
Yeah,
Whatever day that is, right? So
for sure. I've been always the same. Like, I think I've just obviously my training has evolved surmountably over 8 years. Like, I
mhm.
used to train a lot heavier and, like, not as controlled, blah, 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 but I just feel like as you learn your body more that comes. But I think I would definitely say most people that see me train would say I train harder than most.
But yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we trained together one time. We definitely trained pretty hard. We'll have to train together sometime soon here.
Yeah, we should.
Get in a leg day or something. I guess that's all you train now, so.
Yeah. For the foreseeable future. I thought maybe this year I would return to upper body, but I haven't shrunk enough yet.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll have to come on to Total Fitness sometime. They got a bunch of new leg equipment, super sick, so.
I will.
Mm. New leg press and stuff. New I guess you guys have most of the stuff. We have a few more pieces, I think, but
Have you
yeah, it's a
been
nice
to Vitality?
yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, I saw that you actually went there.
Yeah, it's a decent gym. Yeah, it's I like the space, like, it's very open.
Yeah. The lighting's
I really
nice if you're filming.
I really like their leg equipment. It's really nice.
Mhm.
The Panada, some of the Panada stuff is nice and some of it is okay.
Yeah. They have a good mix. They have some Cybex, other stuff. So they have a lot of good equipment.
Mhm.
They are gonna have a, dry sauna too in the bathroom, so I'm like, I could
Oh,
be
really?
covered for that. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Alright, well, this has been a long one. I think this is my longest one yet, so thanks for the good conversation. We'll have to do it again sometime, but if anybody wants to, go follow your account or reach out to you, hit you up, where can they find you?
So it's Shelby underscore Ann. The E in Shelby is a 3, but usually if you just put Shelby underscore Ann, it comes up anyways. That's where I am.
Okay, sweet. Well, I'll drop it in the show notes as well. So anybody who's listening, if they want to check out the account, go follow Shelby, see what she's about. Please hit that up. And I appreciate you coming on today. I think it was a great chat, lots of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, appreciate you. Take care.